We are getting ready to go live on YouTube. Oh, that's why I'm feeling so dark. Um, we are getting ready to go live on YouTube, and the gremlins at YouTube are working to get us on. And as soon as I go ahead and post the link, we do have a big announcement for you all today as well. So let's go ahead. We're copied and posting it on Twix. And we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dockside at the Bay. My name is Vinnie. This is Kim, as always.
Hello,
And
everybody.
we are here to talk about The Bay Season 2, Episodes 7 and 8. Definitely explosive episodes.
Oh yeah, that describes it pretty well.
But let's go ahead and get some church announcements out of the way first. As always, we are an official affiliate of the WWE shop, which is a Fanatics experience. So go to sudsandsquaredcircle.com/wrestling merch, and that has our affiliate link in there. And we get commission on whatever we buy through that link, whether it's a WrestleMania style shirt or WrestleMania merch or Roman Reigns or Cody Rhodes or any of the legends and Hall of Famers. Either way, there's a lot on that website. So go ahead and go there, sudsandsquaredcircle.com/wrestling merch. Also, Sudsy voting. It is up and it's still available until July 7th, Sunday, July 7th. It'll be that's the end of the voting. And I want to thank everybody who has gone ahead and voted. We've gotten the most votes ever so far, and keep on going. I did go ahead on both on Twix, Facebook, and Instagram and Threads. I did go ahead and post the nominee videos as well as the presenters, who's going to be presenting what. And it's just it's one of those things where we're letting everybody know ahead of time who's going to be doing it. And Kim, you're going to be presenting Feud of the Year.
Yes, yes, very excited. Very
So
excited.
we've got a lot of people. Tomorrow, Wednesday, I'm going to be recording an interview with Charlie from Starkville, Mississippi. If you listen to Jim Cornette's Drive Through, you'll know who that is. So we're going to be recording an interview. It's not going to be live, it'll be released afterwards, but we're going to be talking about his book. We're going to be talking about his love of wrestling, our mutual love of wrestling, and just an overall interview with Charlie. Uh, on Wednesday, July 3rd, I am going to be doing a Money in the Bank preview show with the gentleman over at Chair Shot Sports. So we're going to be doing a live Money in the Bank preview episode on that day. So just a lot of stuff moving on. Now to the news about this show, Dockside of the Bay. Tonight is our last episode at 10 p.m. Eastern. Starting next Tuesday, which is going to be June 25th.
Yes.
So starting next Tuesday, we are going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, right here on this YouTube channel. And that's simply because of my new position, my new job, and just getting up earlier. 10 o'clock is late for we know 10 o'clock is late for some people. Maybe an 8 o'clock start. Yes, we'll be going head to head with NXT, but it really doesn't matter because of the fact that we'll be on demand anyways. But
And I think we're moving up in the world, you
we
know?
we are moving up in the world, absolutely. But anyways, I want to thank everybody for voting for the Sudsy Awards, and thank all the people who have subscribed to to this channel over the past couple of weeks. I know it helped having the 10th floor with us for Suds News last week. Angela is going to be the temporary co-host on Suds News going forward, as we announced last week or last night as well. But let's see, anything else that we have to go over? No. So, Kim, how was your week?
Well, the week's been a little bit interesting. We've got a heat dome situation happening here in Chicago. So it's made for just a lot of humidity and a lot of spending time inside with the air conditioning on because, yeah, it's not very nice outside, at least in my opinion. If you like the humidity, then good for you. But it
Well,
doesn't get along with my hair or me in general. So,
I don't like the humidity, but I do like the heat. And actually, today was a nice day to lay out in the sun for me. I'm Italian, so I sunburn once at the beginning of the summer, and after that, I tan all year.
see, I've got Italian and Polish, so I get the whole fair skin thing burn. Maybe if I'm lucky, it'll fade into a slight tan. But yeah, I don't know. Usually I just tend to burn to a crisp and then regret it after.
So I mean, I did enjoy it the day
Hmm.
today. Um,
But yeah, no, I mean, aside from the heat wave, though, not too much is really going on, but there was a lot going on in these episodes. These were two back-to-back ones that were very intense, and they felt longer too. I don't know why. I
they
felt
felt shorter to me.
See, I don't know. For me, at least the first one, it just maybe just because there was so much going on. The second one felt short to me, but the first one just felt like, I was like checking the runtime. I was like, this feels a little bit longer than usual. Not that it's a bad thing,
Right.
but maybe that's just because there was so much going on.
And one other thing, this just came through not too long ago. Before we get into anything, we do want to send our condolences to the family of Major League Baseball Hall of Fame
Oh, I
Willie
saw that.
Mays.
Yeah.
Passed away at the age of 93. That was
Yeah.
reported by the San Francisco Giants team Twix account. So condolences and love to the family, friends, and fans of Willie Mays, Major League Baseball Hall of Famer. I know we don't normally talk about Major League Baseball, but he's a Hall of Famer. And
Yeah.
also, congratulations go in order to the Boston Celtics for winning
Oh,
the
yes.
NBA championship, their record 18th NBA championship. They won last night over the Dallas Mavericks. So just to kind of get everybody up, I know you guys aren't sports fans necessarily that tune in to watch us, but I have to keep everything, keep you all informed.
Hey, we got some big news going on. You got to report it out.
Yes, exactly. All right, so now we can get into the Bay. And we did. We had two explosive episodes. And let's kind of start. We were talking off screen. We finally got a name to the blonde thug that we've been calling him. His name is Chase Warren, right?
Walker.
Walker, Chase Walker.
Yes.
He is the brother of Sean Walker, who was the deputy mayor for
Yeah. The
who was played by
assistant.
who was the deputy mayor, the assistant mayor, or yeah, you're
He
right.
had a nice banter going with Jack. They were kind of
Yeah,
buds, and then he gets killed off in the car accident, and then we had the explosive scene between Chase and his mother a while back, not long after, which just we were just talking about and touching on. But yeah, now that we're starting to see Chase kind of in a more official capacity, at least in this episode, considering, he was pretty prominent,
he was
you
very
know.
prominent. And the one thing we saw at the very beginning, and I want to bring this up to you, knowing that we know that he has assaulted Zoe and Janice.
Yes.
When we see him walking on the street with Tamara because he's her date and boyfriend
Yes.
for Pete and Vivian's wedding. Um, they're checking like her sunglasses, and it made me feel at least that she was trying to hide like a black eye or something.
That could have been kind of an implied kind of thing, just like because if you think you look at Janice and her wearing the sunglasses, like the entire, we've been seeing her in sunglasses in almost every scene since the assault took
Yeah,
place. So, that's kind of lending itself to that, but even just, him walking up, it just, you get filled with that sense of dread. You're just like, oh my goodness, that's him. Oh my gosh, he's with her. And then you have Avery, though, who kind of like happens to glimpse it. And she's just getting a vibe from the
yeah.
jump.
She got skeeved out by him.
Yes.
Just like
Yes. Which,
there's something wrong.
yep. No, she picked up on that right away. And Avery in this up, Avery is just like she's kind of taken a little bit of like almost kind of like the Marley position of just kind of like, being the supportive sort of, just kind of there for everybody sort of, also reporting on Daniel's status because she has to do that all the time and checking up on Daniel.
Yep.
But I don't know. I've noticed that she's kind of like filled in that kind of like, role in Marley's
Yeah.
absence a little bit. But yeah, she definitely picks up right away that something's not right with this guy. She just women can just tell. Sometimes you can
Yeah,
just tell.
it's true. You say that jokingly, but it's true. And it's like, especially when it's family, like, and the way that we as viewers picked up on that little Easter egg tidbit of
Hmm.
just checking her sunglasses. Because I mean, unless he was checking his own mirror image in her sunglasses to make sure he looked
Yeah.
okay, but he's got a shaved head. So I mean, it's like there's really
Yeah.
I've got a shaved head. There's not much that you could really check on.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
And then he's kind of like even like, the lipstick on the teeth thing, like that's his reasoning for kind of, but either way, it's just like, it's just it takes a simple little like glimpse and into, that's all it takes for us to just
Yeah.
kind of get the tone set with this guy and for him to set the tone with Avery, which, so
Mhm.
much accomplished in just a little moment right at the top of the episode.
Exactly. And so now we could actually put the name to him, and now we see him more prominent, like he's being put into a major storyline.
Yep, absolutely. But we also had, just kind of like that whole, sequence on the steps right outside of the church. I mean, we have, Steve kind of rolling up,
Yep.
and Melody and Jack as well. And Melody and Jack, I like their just kind of their vibe, and just like the way you can tell. Obviously, they've known each other for a very long. All it takes is like kind of like a look between them to just kind of like communicate like
Right.
where they're at, and then they're greeting, he Jack or Jack. Why am I'm getting it mixed up because there was a Days episode today, and Matthew Ashford was playing, back as
Oh,
Jack.
yeah.
So now it's all in my brain. No, so they see Steve, and Steve comes up with Joe and Rocco as well. I love that Rocco was just kind of
Yeah.
like, yep, I'm the body, and he was all like happy to like greet the mayor and everything too in that moment. He was just, you tell he's like a proud bodyguard.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like and the thing is it makes me feel like he is a disciple of Steve's.
Oh yeah.
He's excited to be there. He's excited to be part of
Yep.
Steve's family outing.
He's moved up a little bit in like the, chain of command with him, and you can tell he's kind of flattered by that. He's like, I'm gonna be your trainer, I'm gonna be like your go-to guy now, I'm gonna help you out. He's definitely kind of embedded. But
And Joe greets the mayor like and talks to Melody and kind of reminds her who she is. Like she
yeah,
knows.
Clive Connors, I guess, is her father.
Yes.
And that's a name we haven't heard just yet. We knew that obviously her father was prominent in town, but I don't think that they actually said his name up until
No.
this episode. But Melody's like, just very unfailingly polite. You could tell she's just kind of in the like society mode. But I haven't seen you since you were a teenager. But then we find out Melody was like city council, so she was
Yeah.
kind of political and things like that too. And the front row, I loved the little exchange. The front row was reserved for family because Steve was saying he was going to sit up front. He's like, well, I am immediate family, just coming, clapping back at that. But yeah, loaded little kind of moment just taking place on the church steps, and everyone kind of, showing up for this big dramatic wedding.
Yes, very, very big. I mean, and then we see Pete roll up on the bike.
I loved that. I mean, I know that like, it was kind of like I think they just wanted an excuse to show, you know, Christos on the back of a bike, looking all handsome in his tux, just, rolling like that was a cool image. Let's be real. Like,
Yeah. It was good to watch. It was good to see. And um it also it goes ahead and kind of sets the tone because he comes in the back door
mhm.
and he sees Avery, I think.
Yep. Because Avery comes up and greets him,
Right.
and she's just like, "What's going on? Like,
Like,
why are
where's
you on your
Daniel?
bike?" And
Yeah.
yeah, just like a little bit confused, trying to catch up. And then, of course, Daniel, she's just constantly like, I swear, she needs to like put like a tracker on her brother or something like
Yeah,
that, because
exactly.
constantly asking about like his whereabouts or what he's doing or what he's up to.
Daniel is
But
the typical guy that just doesn't know when to, he doesn't know proper etiquette at all. And
no.
we'll get into more of Daniel in a little bit. Um, but while Avery and Pete are in talking, Cleo comes up and
Hmm.
you know, she comes up and asks, can we speak freely in front of
Yes.
Avery, Avery, and,
Yes.
he says, yeah, go ahead. She knows the deal, and Cleo's like, don't tell anybody why you're getting married
Yep. I
because
mean,
that's probably something,
it's kind of stating the obvious, but also like, the group may need to hear it, just as a reminder, like, yeah, nobody can know the exact reason why, because I mean, Pete even says it. He's just like when he's talking to Avery, it's the only way I can get, my mom out of
yeah,
jail. And Vivian is amazing. It's like he's just trying to like kind of not talk himself into it, but just kind of like, explain because Avery's all, I still can't believe that you're doing this. And she's like trying to fill him in on all the gaps, but also figure out where his head is at. And he's just like, this is what has to be done.
yeah, no, exactly, and that's basically where it leads is that it is what has to be done.
Hmm.
And hang on, I'm trying to check something here. Here we go. This just actually came into my mind to take a look. Oh crap! Did they take it off already?
Hmm.
Oh no, there it is. Um, let's see. Nope, there's still season seven. Only still season seven. Um, I wanted to check Popstar because on Take Two Radio last week, Candace said that Gregory Martin was going to be putting out a press release about the next batch of
Oh
episodes
yeah,
that were
no, yeah,
dropping.
you had mentioned that, yes.
Yes, and I haven't seen anything yet. So
No, I haven't come across anything either, but maybe next week we'll be able to report on that in our new time slot.
yes, exactly. But anyways, so you're right. They can't talk to anybody regarding what's
Yeah.
going on because it's similar to a green card wedding, for example.
Yeah. No,
They're
it's
just
basically, it's more just, out of necessity and out
yep,
of obligation. And, they're doing it kind of, to outs, skirt, this law, this trust, get around some stuff. I mean, it is kind of, and, you see that, I mean, when they get into the next kind of piece with Vivian, she's standing there in her wedding dress and looking just absolutely stunning. I mean, my
yes,
gosh, like, but, she's just standing there looking just so forlorn and just
yep,
looking so just like, and just flat out says that she can't do it. And then you
yeah,
have Zoe who's just there as just, oh, Zoe in this, I love like obviously she is like, I'm Vivian's aunt,
yeah,
but she is just such like a sweetheart in this, just like so supportive and just like, you don't have to do this. Let's just talk this through. Like, just not like, saying, well, you have to, because it kind of
yep,
starts out like that. She says, like, well, Pete's probably at the altar and your dad's outside honking like a maniac. Now,
yep, yep,
you kind of wonder if she's just going to tell her to like kind of just suck it up and do it, but it doesn't go that way. She's just like, listen, like we can just talk. You got to just tell me what's going on, what's in your head. She's really just trying to get to the bottom of it, which is really sweet rather than just kind of being like, come on, honey, we got to rally. We got to do this.
you're right. And
So super sweet moment there. And, Vivian blaming Will for like putting everything into her head and just like worried that he's right and that she'll have regrets all of this, but you know Zoe just being like, you need to be confident in your decision, you
yep,
know and like there's a reason that you just said that you couldn't do this and I want to know what it is.
right.
Then
And
it
that
kind of, yeah,
so
it
she's
was a heartbreaking little moment, just
yeah, because we hear Mac is out there ready to bring them to the or in the car ready to go to the church, the chapel.
hmm hmm
Um and yeah, it's great that Zoe is being supportive no matter which way that you know Vivian decides that she wants to go.
Right.
Um
Just straight up like this is your call and I'll support you if you tell me right now that this is what you want to do. We all, because even Zoe was saying like she doesn't feel like anyone in the family is supporting her and then she's like, well, I'm supporting you and it's whatever you want.
yep,
But, Vivian just ends up just saying, I'm just going to go through with it. I'm sure, just kind of like towing the line and just like it's like, oh girl. Oh,
because it's like first of all Vivian is kind of in a rough position, right? Because she still loves Pete from
right.
when they went out originally or first time in high school, whatever it was.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so that's why when Pete said, "Oh, I have to get married in order to get you," she's like, "Oh, well, I'll do it," and it's and coming from her viewpoint, it's like, yeah, he needs this. I'm gonna get what I want by marrying him. He's gonna get what he wants by getting his mom out. So it's win-win all around.
Yeah.
But you got to think in her mind or in her heart, was this really the wedding that she envisioned, getting married just so that she can, because
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, even
it
though it's to a man that she still obviously has
right,
feelings for, the set of circumstances surrounding it, she can feel that, he's not doing this because he loves her. He's doing
right,
this because she offered and it's getting his mom out of prison. It's not a matter of, just like, oh, even though like they did have like their moment by the pool and they did have
yep,
like, they've been able to like reconnect, his feelings, it's obvious that his feeling or her feelings are not totally
stronger.
returned just yet,
Yeah, and
as
that's the
made
thing.
clear by his reaction to some news that he gets.
Yes, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But it I thought about it was, it's like, yes, she's doing this because she wants to help you, and but it's like then she kind of takes a step back and is like, this is my wedding.
Right.
This is my, and you don't want to justify it by saying, "Oh, this is my first wedding. If anything happens, like we can get it annulled, and I can have another."
Yeah.
Because it's like nobody wants to think that way, right?
No, of course not. And this is someone that she cares about. It's not like she's just doing
Right.
this for like the sake of some rando or some person that just kind of came back into her life. Like, no, she clearly has been carrying a torch for Pete for quite some time, and now it's just all this is happening, and it's starting to catch up to her.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she's a trooper. She still says like, I'm in the dress. I'm just gonna do this thing.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I had just buttoned myself up into that dress, I wouldn't really want to be changing out of it either. Like, come on, let's
Yeah.
just go.
Exactly.
Let's just do this.
Yeah.
But I
I
mean,
mean, I saw the dress that my wife wore, so it's like, yeah, it's kind of, you got to get pliers and some kind of stuff to get women into these wedding dresses, whether
yeah.
it's, slip ring, making them
Hey,
slip
my
in the
sister's got
butter
a
or
second
whatever.
dress for her reception
Yeah,
because she is planning on getting out of the very pretty, very intricate, very princessy
yeah,
thing that she is going to be strapping herself into and putting on something that she can dance in for the reception, which I'm
makes
happy about.
total sense. Makes total sense.
Yeah,
Um,
but she looked like it was just, it was such a sad little moment. She just kind of turns around, Vivian, and just kind of walks back into we're gonna do this, and
yeah,
just walks out the door. But, and then, I mean, my gosh, then there's still the whole other part of the episode that isn't even wedding related, which is just like a
yeah.
lot.
Well, we gotta before we get into that, let's kind of get back into the actual chapel because
Yeah,
when Avery sees the limo pull up with Vivian and Zoe in there, and
yes.
she's like, "Oh crap, where the hell is Daniel?" Because he's supposed to be there. He's the best man, right? So, I,
Oh, Daniel.
oh man, so Pete's at the altar, and I think it was after. No, it wasn't after. It was right before they start playing the organ for Vivian to come out with Mac.
Yeah, no,
Comes
Sophia
running.
is up there kind
Yeah,
of like she's introducing Pete to Riley. And okay, she is really like she's very proud that her daughter is at BCB and then interning at Romantica because she has said that a lot.
yes,
Like every
yeah,
time the daughter is around, she's very proud of her daughter Riley.
yeah,
But it's kind of funny because like, Avery interrupts saying like Daniel's not here yet. And then you have Sophia being like, well, take a good look around the church. What choices do you have? Like, who's
yeah.
around?
Exactly. So Sophia wants to get this, because she's the one that planned it. She wants
Right.
this to go over as soon as
Of
quickly.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
She's
Daniel
just
comes running in, no pants on, with the dog, and
Oh, but not before Steve had offered to even step in as best man.
right, yeah,
And then like everyone's just like, no, you're completely insane. And he's like, I just thought I'd help you out, son, but it's your funeral. And everyone's just like, I think it was like Avery was just like, just go away. Just get
yeah,
out of here. Just go. But
exactly,
then we get Daniel crashing the party with the dog, with Moby.
yeah.
Just, no
And then coming
pants.
in behind him is can't remember his name, the butler,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
I
I,
can't remember his
I
name.
can't remember his name either, but it was just such an amazing moment. I was
It
just
was,
like, I'd forgotten about that little detail and it just cracked me up. And
yeah,
then, like, it's so funny, like, they ask for the rings because that's like the one best man. And he's like, oh, well, I don't have them. And then Melody's just like, I knew you wouldn't. I like, I just,
I
'cause I
wouldn't
just know
trust you with the
you.
rings. Yeah.
So she automatically anticipates that, which is great, too smart to give them to you. And then they send, the mayor to go running and grab them from the car, which, he's pretty spry. He
Yeah.
just kind of takes off running down the aisle. He's determined. He's like, yep,
Yeah.
we're going to get this show on the road. But, he gets out to the car, and then we have a whole dramatic thing that kind of ensues,
Which I was almost expecting Orchid to be in the car because I forgot what
kind
happened.
I kind of did too. And then they kind of show someone like creeping around the car, and I'm thinking
Yeah.
like, okay, wait a minute. But yeah, I mean, an Orchid in the car would not be the first time that she's like, bombarded him and
Yeah.
ambushed him in that setting. So
Exactly.
but
Uh,
no, it's not Orchid
no.
that is kind of gunning for him at this point. It is John Blackwell with a gun.
Yep. Exactly.
Just
And he
in a
comes.
church, because why not?
Well, at least he has a
Just
silencer on. I
he
mean,
did. He did,
so
to credit
props.
where credit is due.
Yeah.
But just he's the one who's creeping around the car. He follows the mayor back inside, and then just that's kind of where the episode leaves, because I don't think something I should have done a long time ago.
Yeah.
Just kind of ends it on that fun little note. And he pulls the trigger. It's just like, okay, you're not
Yeah.
just gonna like threaten him or take him off to some no, you're just straight up going to kill this man, or at least shoot him in cold blood in a lobby to a church. So
Yeah.
cool.
And meanwhile, they start the process. Vivian comes walking in, marching down the aisle with Mac. And
Yep.
at that point,
Prior to, obviously,
yeah, prior
the
to that,
whole,
yeah.
yeah.
And at that point, Daniel decides to ask, uh,
Ah, Daniel.
well, you got over Janice that really quickly. And Pete's like, not now, not now. That now's not the time to talk about it. And he's like,
Yeah, I'm
oh,
about
is
to get
that
married,
because she
man.
was
Like,
raped? And it's
ah.
like, what the like, seriously, come on now.
Your timing, my friend.
Timing.
Timing is everything. That is not, that's a conversation maybe you should have had when you were like, doing laps on the pool floaty,
Yeah.
back at, the house. This isn't something you should bring up when you're standing on the altar about to like, see him get married to somebody. It's just,
Yeah.
oh
And at
my
that
God.
point, Pete's like, his emotions get thrown
Oh
for
yeah, his entire face just
his
shows it, and he
yep,
is just completely just
out of it.
stunned,
Yeah.
and just, whatever kind of enthusiasm, whatever kind of, excitement he had for, just completely wiped away once
Yeah.
he gets this news, obviously.
Yeah.
And just, he's completely just he's just like shell shocked, and the expression on his face was just so like the acting there was amazing, because he
It
just
was.
turns and he's just like totally.
Yep.
And then you have Vivian, who has like, rallied, and the poor girl is like looking at him and just smiling.
Yeah.
And then you look at him, and it's just like, it's just, oh,
He's
it's
got
just
a
a,
blank expression.
yeah, it
Like
just hurts.
he half-heartedly shakes Mac's hand and
Yeah,
turns around to look at Daniel like, what did you say?
yeah.
You
No,
know,
it's just so,
it's
oof.
so full of emotion too, because it's
Mm-hmm.
almost like you wanna, if you put yourself in Pete's, Pete's point of view, on one hand you want to slap Daniel for even saying something like that.
Yes.
At the same time, it's like this is information you feel you need to know because you care about her, but not on your wedding day.
Right. Like, come on. This isn't something that, but gotta have the drama, because it's a wedding, and that's what, soaps do. They like
And, and especially because it's not a wedding for love per se.
oh
It,
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
one that he has to go through with. So now there's a
Yeah.
wrench in there.
Yeah, of course, because we can't have, can't have nice things. And
Right.
Vivian, poor thing, can't have nice things. She's just there all smiling. Her dad walked her down the aisle, everything, she's rallied, and now this.
Yeah.
And but like the whole wedding devastation thing, it's devastating, but also we've got, some other devastating moments in this fun episode.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh,
just
yeah.
we some interesting scenes with the jail, and interesting scenes with Janice,
Yeah.
which just kind of set the, just little, fun little devastating moments just sprinkled throughout.
Oh
Gotta love
yeah.
it.
No, absolutely. Um, I was it. Yeah, it was in episode 7 where Lex kind of breaks into the warden's office, and
Yeah, because after he's well, after he's seen Sarah, after
Yeah.
he's kind of had a conversation with her, where, they're trying to like get around the glass, but he's just like, I have no, like they're both just completely rendered powerless. Like he has no authority there. It's like a federal prison. And she just turns to him and like, just flat out says, I'm dying in here. Like doesn't even, just, and then he's like saying, you got to stay strong. Your son's getting married. It's like, I don't know if she necessarily like, don't rub it in, dude.
Right,
Like
exactly. Don't rub it in. She'd rather be there.
yeah, she knows, obviously. And but like they're saying like, he'll get the trust and you'll get out. And then they're trying to like even potentially move the trial up, but Cleo thinks that that's a bad idea. All this like, she can't win. She's just like
And I
stuck
guess
there.
Lex's ex-wife, who happens to
Oh
be
yeah, Liza, and
Liza.
doing everything she can to complicate
Yep.
by elevating Red Garrett, who we still don't really know a hell of a lot about this guy,
Right.
just given the
All we
fact that
know,
like
it's just the illusion that he's evil.
yes, yes. But we aren't exactly sure of like everything just yet with him. We just know that he's been elevated to like a saintly status because of
Yeah.
everything that's, because of Liza, because of what, everything that's come out about the murder, all this stuff. But
Now,
she's just like, yeah,
Liza is, if I'm remembering correctly, Liza is Sarah's, is it half sister
I
or
believe
something to
so.
that effect?
I'm a little fuzzy on that detail. I want to say, I mean, I know that obviously, like, that was like half sister. I'm not sure. I thought maybe like
Or aunt, or aunt. Like I can't.
I thought it was aunt,
It
actually,
is
just
aunt
because,
because I know when
like,
peeps are in New York, she said that it's Aunt Liza.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
think, and it's like it's not conducive to say, oh my, it's great Aunt Liza or whatever. So I
yeah.
kind of
And
can,
there is like a gap between Lex and Sarah in terms of the
yeah,
age.
that's
So,
true.
it could, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
thinking
so
great aunt, which, because, but that you got, because great aunt involved with Lex, but then Sarah, yeah, I don't
or
know.
I mean, or it could be half sister thinking about it. It's because I mean now
But they've
Red,
always kind of referred to her more as Lex's ex
right?
versus Sarah's half sister. I feel like that would have been a little bit more played up if that was the case. I could be wrong though.
Well,
I'm
was Red? Oh yeah, because that makes sense now. Because I'm assuming that Liza is Jack's sister, the married
yeah,
sister.
yep,
That that
yeah.
makes sense
There
now.
we go. Okay, there we go.
Because I'm like, wait
We're
a minute.
making the connection here.
Yeah, is Red Sarah's father? No, the mayor is Sarah's father.
We need like a family tree. We need to like draw
Yeah,
up like a little family tree and just kind of keep track of everybody. Maybe I'll make that a project or something. But yeah, so Liza though, I mean, we know that she's just complicating Sarah's case because she can and just making
yeah.
things difficult. But Sarah is just like, people in here are crazy, people in here are dangerous. It's not even a state prison. She just looks at him, I just want you to hold me. And that was just like, okay, Mary Beth Evans, you're just breaking everybody's heart right now by, doing
Yeah.
this. And, they exchange I love yous, and it's just really sweet and really, and then they don't even get like, the guard comes up and basically just is all like, your time's up. And then it's not even 15 fucking minutes yet. Lex just goes off. Warden's orders though. And that warden is doing a lot to make us just like her. I forgot how much I dislike this character until doing, these two episodes just really just drive
And
that home.
and I just absolutely love how they set up what looks like collusion.
Oh yeah.
Because as soon as Lex gets into the warden's office, and we might
Hmm.
be getting into episode 8 at this point, but as soon as Lex gets into the warden's office and they have that, conversation and, you know, and she's like, I'm gonna get her out of there, stop messing with her and all this
Yep.
other stuff. And the warden's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know how
Hmm.
you got in here. And then as soon as, the guards come in and Lex says, I'm out of here anyways. And she's like, don't let him come back.
Hmm.
She picks up the phone and says, do it now.
Yeah.
And
It's just
then,
like, oh my God. Okay, you are just pulling the strings to make her life hell,
yeah,
basically.
and it's like, this is where it gets kind of convoluted, right? We know that John Blackwell has a vendetta against the Garretts because, Jack, he's Jack's illegitimate son.
Yes. And he
And
blames Jack for his mother's death,
right,
even though his mother died of cancer, which we find out. If we didn't find that out before, we find out
we'll
in this
find it out soon.
episode. Yes.
Um,
But yeah,
yeah,
no, he, because Jack comes back and says that when, John's holding the gun on him, just basically like, your mother died of cancer. And then, but he blames him for everything. He blames him for his mother's,
yep.
downfall and everything like that.
And
So
then as soon as the warden makes a phone call, we see this other yokel come into a restaurant for with
yeah.
a
Yep.
reservation for John Blackwell, setting up
And
an alibi.
spoiler alert, not John Blackwell, not even
Yeah,
close. No, this guy just comes in and takes a seat at a table and is just all, kind of casually just, oh yeah, I made a reservation under a name that's not mine. And
yep.
hey, I'm gonna sit down and, have a nice little lunch.
And in a post night, now granted, it's a restaurant, it's not the TSA, so it's like you can legitimately say any name when you call to make a reservation.
Hmm.
But just the fact that it's John Blackwell and and it comes up right after. So did the warden set it up, or did John Blackwell set it up, or
I
was
think
it
it was kind of like a little sting that they
or
just kind of pre-planned out, You kind of
and if
got
then
like,
who was it? It had to be this other guy that the warden called that said do it now, because we don't see anything where John Blackwell gets the phone, you know,
yeah. And
hearing.
it could also be implied though with the do it now,
Yeah,
what we see happen to Sarah as well.
that's true. I thought about that as well.
I
So,
mean, because it's a little coincidental, the fact that the warden just kind of is there observing and watching while everything is going down and knows exactly where and when it's happening.
yep,
I was kind of led, she obviously, her and John kind of, but in that situation too, you can tell that she has also kind of made that situation happen because she wouldn't be there observing in her creepy, smiley way, Sarah getting
yeah.
the crap beaten out of her literally with like whatever it is,
And one of the guards
sock with
brought
something
her
in it,
there. Yeah, there's a sock with probably like
a lock or
or
something in
a
it.
lock.
Either way, yeah, it was horrifying and just.
And Candy comes to say, "Hey, cut it out. Wait a minute." And she gets detained.
And then you also have Lola, who looks like she's kind of going to be in on the action and on the beatdown situation, but
There.
then gets freaked out and turns around and takes off in the other direction.
Yep.
So it's like, maybe it's like she's aware that she's caused this situation, but is starting to look at this situation where a woman is just being totally beaten up in front of her and totally freaked out by it and just can't handle.
Yeah.
But either way, yeah, that was a fun, horrifying note to end the episode on. Definite shades of like Orange is the New Black, all this
Yeah.
stuff. And it was just disturbing seeing a whole group of folks. And
And
it's
it,
just
and it
like,
was because when
you know
you
what?
really look at it, it's like, what the hell did she do to deserve it?
Right? I mean, because we still don't really know exactly what, I mean,
We don't know what the warden has against Sarah.
we don't really know what the warden has against Sarah, and we don't really know even what, I mean, aside from her like calling her like, a queenie bitch, we don't really know what unless it's just the fact like there is that moment where she does mention like, well, the guards always like seem to like, cater to her and do all this stuff. So maybe it's like built up in her head that
Yeah.
Sarah's just like this princess and needs to be taken down a few notches. But even so, it's a horrifying freaking
It
scene.
it really is. Um it's ridiculous. It's horrifying
When
to
Kayla was in jail on days, it did not get that dicey.
no. Well, they wouldn't pull that kind of stuff on days
No,
anyways.
no. I
I
guess,
mean,
but in the age of streaming in the Bay, they can just, yeah, we're
and
just
they
gonna
have,
show her.
and
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I'm liking is that they have the sets. It seems like they're really filming inside a
Oh
prison,
yeah.
as opposed to on all the other soaps. When you think of prison, all you see is
Like one little lone sort. Yeah. No, I mean, like,
cell.
I,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the prison, whole setup for that. I mean, my goodness, very realistic looking, very,
Mhm.
very scary. And just, yeah, just, but even like the Candy trying to help out in the whole thing and the wardens just creepy sort of, they love just like having a scene end on that character being creepy or
Yeah,
being weird or like say giving some order, and it's just like, oh, she plays that villain so well.
she does. Yes, she really truly does.
So yeah, that was you know great little cliffhanger. And then we also have like the cliffhanger of the mayor just bleeding and everyone like stumbling across that situation,
Well, yeah,
which
because what happens is that while the pastor is going through the vows,
Yep.
And they get to the part where it's supposed to exchange the rings, and the mayor hasn't come back yet. So Cleo says,
Yeah, Cleo goes
"That's
to go
it.
and
I'll
you stay
go."
here. Yeah.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Vivian says her "I do." Pete's just still totally out of it.
Hmm.
So the
He really hasn't recovered into like
no,
a point where he can like remotely like, be tuned in, and she sees it, and you see
yeah,
it in her face, and you see it just like, she's looking at him just like, what's going on? What's going on?
yeah, and
Now, does he actually say I do
no,
before does he actually get the words out? I
no.
like, yeah.
He's kind of like stuttering, like I,
He's
and
almost there, but he doesn't
I,
actually say it
because
before
yeah,
the
he's
interruption.
not in the moment. He's just
Yeah.
elsewhere, and
Yeah.
Vivian's can see it and everything, and then all of a sudden it's like you're saved by the screen because you
Yeah.
hear Cleo scream, and
Yeah.
everybody rushes out, and we saw originally that Jack was shot in the knee, but then when we see again, he was shot in the chest.
Yeah, because John Blackwell doesn't play.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't want to just, because he, shoots him in the knee, and then they have to get into the whole conversation about like, the, like why I'm doing this and what my motivation is, and that whole
And
kind of,
that's what bothers me is that just a couple episodes ago, he apologizes to Sarah for
right?
giving the private investigator information to the cops about her supposedly killing Red Garrett. So I I thought they squashed that. So now he's back shooting.
Well, to be fair, Sarah didn't, she did flat out say, I don't accept your apology.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
maybe he took that, and then I took that personally.
Yeah,
I decided to go and just shoot your dad,
true. That
our
makes
dad.
sense. Yeah,
But yeah, no, that is a little bit just because you kind of thought that he was on the trajectory where he had kind of, forgive but not forget, and just kind of moving past because of the whole thing with Damien. And then, he kind of doubles back to because or maybe he's like just separating it out. Maybe he just feels bad about the Sarah thing because of her direct connection to Marley, but still has, still holds Jack responsible for like the death of his
right,
mother, all that stuff, and just kind of compartmentalizing a little bit. Either way, it's a little bit weird. But
very.
yeah, I mean, he's kind of a weird dude though, anyways. So it kind of
That's
tracks.
true. And
But
Moss plays him so well.
yeah. And then, just I was just kind of looking back through my notes. I mean, we did kind of, there is just even with like the jail stuff, we did have it where Nathan got a call from Sarah when she was in jail, basically agreeing to, share her story and that whole bit, which was a scene I totally like, but I was like backtracking through. I was just like, oh yeah, we didn't even mention that.
Yeah,
But Sarah agrees to kind of share her story, and Nathan agrees to like, go and visit her and like hear all about it, and he calls her Mama Garrett and all of that. Kind of affectionately, kind of not. But there was that little, kind of brief exchange at the get it on the approved list and all of this stuff. And so Sarah's going to be able to kind of explain, her side of things, but we don't necessarily trust Nathan either. So, but there was that whole, and he was also going to go to, he does drop the hint too about what's her
Lola.
name, Lola,
Yeah,
and how did you know she was in here? Well, I did my homework, and if I did, I was going to get her story or your story from her.
yeah,
So, and maybe that's why, because with Lola kind of like freaking out during the beatdown scene, maybe that's part of it too. She just like, feels this kind of connection, even though she's kind of put this whole thing into motion, and now she's just feeling like
yeah,
guilty or freaked. But oof, so much happening between like, the jail and then the church
yeah,
and just the back and forth and cutting back between and everything. And then you also have Janice on top of it. It's like, my
yeah.
God, like you're really just
Janice is
piling it
still
on
falling
today.
apart. Just you feel so bad for her because she can't
Oh,
get
God.
anything together right
I
now.
mean, she's still in that crappy motel room, and she's just chugging vodka like it's water. And then she just has a hallucination to, young
Beth
Lee,
Lee.
Eric Martzoff, who's, to be fair, if I was like drunk off of my ass, I wouldn't mind hallucinating, Eric Martzoff standing there holding scotch. Like that's
Right.
a nice kind of, fantasy to have. But, it turns so sad because then he's just like, isn't this what you always wanted? Like a perfect
Yeah.
husband and a family. And then she just keeps on insisting it's not real.
Yeah.
And it's just like, but then they had that funny little moment, like, you know, it's just a logistical thing. What does death really mean anyway? All of this stuff. Like, yeah, you're seeing me, but who cares? But then he's like, basically telling her to give up. And it's just like, and she comes so close to doing it. And it's just like, oh God, this is just absolutely devastating right now.
Yeah. And it's just so hard. And then, then we do see a brief scene where Will meets up with Liana and just plants one big old smooch on her and
Yeah.
starts making
Yeah.
out with her in the middle of wherever the hell they are.
Right. Which, like, we had that little, like, kind of montagey sequence. And yeah, it was just like it's like,
Out of
oh, okay, a
nowhere.
little bit. With Will, it's like, it's kind of hard to pinpoint that character. He's kind of
Yeah.
like, it's just kind of like they're putting him in like different places, trying to see where he fits best, almost.
Yeah, and it's almost like they're playing him or they're writing him to the point where he's okay, he can't have Vivian because Vivian's going after Pete. So now Liana's my next best thing.
Yeah,
Well, he
kind of.
cares about Liana, and
Yeah,
and they slept together at one point, but then he kind of kicked her out of the house and said, "Let's not discuss this ever again." You know,
right.
and
So,
so
yeah. And
yeah,
Liana looks a little bit like she's like, he comes up, starts making out with her, and it's like she's just kind of like, wait, what's happening? What
yeah,
is, more shock and awe than anything else. Not necessarily like returning, but it's only a quick little sequence. It's
yeah,
like, but even so, it was just like, oh, okay, that's happening.
exactly. All right.
But
So,
yeah,
end of the episode, we see at the end of the episode 8, we see Vivian in the bathroom at the church, and she's crying because clearly everything is going on.
yeah,
Comes to the altar and apologizes and says, "I'm sorry, I have to go with my grandfather." And she's like, "Of course."
right.
She's still more shaken the fact that he couldn't get out the "I do." Uh,
Understand, just kind of
yeah,
standing there, wait, and then yeah, he
but
can't
we
even.
we as the viewer understand that we can empathize with both people because here Vivian got over her fears and went over and said, "I'm going to do this," and
She had
then
the big smile. Yeah, she
yeah,
was all, she rallied. And then, but he, kind of had it at the start. And then, but by the time everything, the Janice reveal, as well as it just, his head wasn't there. But he does, like, he thanks her for being so amazing,
yeah,
kisses her and leaves. And it's like, yeah, okay, I'm amazing. But now I'm going to stand here and cry in the bathroom because I don't feel amazing right now. I feel
and that's
horrible.
when she hears something,
Yes.
and that's when we go to black.
Ah, well, that's when we also see in the bathroom stall.
Oh, I
You get
missed that.
Yeah, because we get the little, she sees the bouquet on the ground that Zoe had been carrying, and we had seen in the stall um, Chase with his hand over Zoe, because over Zoe's mouth, because apparently he just likes, finding her in, random places and just, traumatizing her.
Oh yeah, I missed that. I totally missed that.
Yeah, no, it was quick, but it was there. And then, you have Viv, seeing the bouquet, hearing the noise, and it's just kind of like, Zoe, like, just kind of like, what's going on? Like, and then cut that. There was also this scene though too, just folks just kind
Oh,
of getting taken by surprise with Orchid and John
yeah,
Blackwell
that's right. Yep.
following the whole, because he just apparently was able to just kind of like, take off, and
Yeah,
nobody was not, no, everyone's none the wiser, use the silencer,
yeah,
takes off. Now I'm gonna go walk on the beach.
yeah. And I almost thought it was where so we can get rid of the gun,
Mm.
as if to say,
That's what I thought too. I thought
pour
we
it
were
in
gonna
the
see him
water.
just like,
Yeah.
yeah, throw that
But
thing
then he
away,
meets
or
up with Orchid and
yeah.
says like it's about time or something to that effect.
Right. And then there's the whole, like, like, oh, is that a gun, or are you happy to see me? And then he's like, oh no, it's a gun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It just, like, his delivery on that just cracked me up. He just says it like so, just like plainly. It's like, yep, no, it's a gun. And then Orc is
And
just kind
she's
of like,
like, we could have met somewhere more public or whatever. And he's like, I'm a married man. I can't be seen with like the likes of
didn't
you.
want to leave anything
Right.
behind, all of this stuff. But dude,
And
you're
then he
still
gives
holding
her
the
a
gun
roll
that you
up
just used to
wad of
shoot the mayor with. Like,
right.
clearly, I don't know what you're a little all over the place here, friend.
Yep.
Like,
And then he gives her a rolled up wad of cash.
yes.
So it's like, is it where he's paying for her services, or is it that, you
Kind of
know,
implied that way, but also just like, okay, are you guys teaming up? Are you guys working
right?
together
That's
somehow?
yeah, because she's after the mayor as well. So
Right.
like,
It's
but
like, was it
then
like,
again, it's just
it felt like a thread was kind of teased out there, and we're not really
there were
necessarily sure where it's going to go.
and there were a couple threads like that because whether it's John setting this whole thing in motion, having the alibi there, and then doing it for Orchid.
Hmm.
But then again, you have the warden saying, "Go ahead and do it now."
Yeah.
Is that for,
Is
the
that for the
alibi
shooting,
for
or is
John,
that for
or is it?
Sarah, or is that,
Yeah,
or is it something like really coordinated where it was like, it's almost, it reminds me of like something out of like, the end of The Godfather, where it's just like it all
yeah,
happens all at once. And then you're just
exactly.
kind of like, okay, did like they just agree to have all this happen all at the same time? Sarah gets attacked, we have the shooting, we have all this.
Yeah,
Just all we need is a christening in the background, but instead we have a wedding.
yes, exactly, exactly. But that's
Okay, cool. Godfather parallels. I like it.
yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense. I was almost going to go with analyze this, um,
Hmm.
which you know maybe more modern for mob movies, uh, but mob comedies. But yeah, you're right with The Godfather. It makes total sense.
Sorry, I had to watch that scene to death when I was in film. Well, not to death, but when I was in film school,
And
that was required viewing.
to be honest, I've never seen The Godfather in its entirety. Any of them. I read the book,
Oh my
but
goodness.
I never actually saw The Godfather.
My father would be supremely disappointed if I
My
hadn't seen
father,
any of
my
the
father
Godfather.
saw all three of them in the theater, but I
Believe my dad did. Well, my dad at least, has, put them on enough surround sound in our living room to duplicate a theater experience when he's watching it. So yeah, no, but yeah, just I feel like though you're probably it could feel like the way that the episode was structured that all of that was all taking place at the same time and it was just all coordinated by, but
yeah,
it's like threads were teased out and now we're curious, which is the whole point because now we're going to be like, well, what happens next?
yes, and that's exactly what it boils down to.
Yeah.
One thing that I love about it, and I brought it up last night on Suds News, and the one thing I love about the Bay, and when we do get a chance to interview Gregory on this show,
Yep.
I'm going to bring up to him how I can to wrestling, because of the simple fact I brought it up last night on Suds News, regarding what Eric Bischoff says is the greatest way of writing television and how to be successful in writing television, and it's the SARSA formula, and that means that the it's an acronym, and it stands for story, anticipation, reality, surprise, and action. And
Hey.
and the
Yeah.
bank has all of them. The
Oh yeah.
story is phenomenal.
Yep.
The anticipation is like we said, what's going to happen next,
Yeah.
right?
I mean,
Uh,
you've got, just all these like scenarios playing out all at once at the very, very end, and you're just like, okay, is Sarah gonna like obviously we know that Sarah gets through the whole
yeah,
I'm getting the absolute shit kicked out of me by a bunch of women in prison situation, but we don't know what condition she's gonna be in, and we don't
exactly.
know about the mayor, except for the fact that it's just that there's, and it's just funny too because it's like, you see these two characters that you think are like, everyone says they're like on top of the world. They rule the city, rule it, and it's like the both of them are in like really precarious situations at the end of this episode.
Yep, they are.
And it
Uh,
just shows what a season of the show can do, you
yeah,
know.
and it's the best thing, and that's why it's won best writing for numerous Emmys,
Absolutely.
because it has it, and it's like, and granted, it's not a traditional soap opera
Right.
because they're not on 5 days a week,
Right.
200 days a year,
Can you imagine if
200
it
hours
was?
of
Oh my
content.
God.
Oh my
If it
God,
was 5 days a week.
I don't think Gregory would be able to write it himself.
No, I
He
don't think
would need
so
a writer.
either. But that would be so much intensity for one. Like we'd need the weekend off.
Oh yeah, you would.
It would be too much.
Um, and then when it comes down to reality, surprise, and action, we've had a ton of action already.
Hmm.
Whether it's Pete punching out Steve on the courthouse steps,
Yep.
you know, um, or John Blackwell punching out Steve. Just seems Steve is on the receiving end of many punches.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Because
you
they have
know,
to just show Matt Ashford, like, they got to show Steve just like milking it for all it's worth,
oh yeah,
the injury after, just like, holding the ice pack or, I'm
And,
learning karate too.
yeah. I wonder if that's what Rocco is for, to teach him karate.
Probably. I'm guessing that's part of, but Rocco seems happy to be there, man. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
he's
he
just like,
really is.
happy as a clam being able to like, defend, be his bodyguard and be his trainer and, he likes the guy. He likes hanging with him, which
Yeah.
but oh man. Yeah, I mean, I feel like is there anything we didn't touch on? I think we got everything, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we did. I think we got everything
Yeah.
for those 2 episodes.
Yeah. Because there was a lot there. Just trying to cover the bases and just make sure. But yeah. No, I think yeah, goodness. It was just a lot to process. But
Yes.
so worth it. And now it's like, okay, like, and it's just it's fun because it's like I do remember obviously like, this piece of, the story and everything like that. But there are certain details like Daniel running in with the boxers and, like, and just all of the craziness that Lola is and just, there's like little aspects of it that I just totally forgotten about. So it's fun
Yeah.
going back in and being able to revisit that and see it again. So
Yeah. No,
and
it's
just
great.
get caught up in the cliffhangers again because I honestly don't really remember. Like I remember parts of it, but I don't. And I'm just like, nope, not gonna watch the preview. I'm gonna be surprised. Fresh eyes for next week.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And that's the best way to have it. So we are out of time. We've kind of covered the 2 episodes. Actually, our show is longer than the 2 episodes combined. Again. But either way. Um, So again, just a reminder, next Tuesday we will be on at 8 p.m.
Yes.
Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Not the 10 o'clock. We're moving to 8 o'clock. We're moving 2 hours earlier going forward. Um, again, the Sudsy Awards will be dropped on Sunday. It'll be posted on Sunday, July 21st. And then the voting ends on Sunday, July 7th. So there's still time to get your votes in. We got 19 categories. We have a whole bunch of who's who of podcasters for presenters. So I want to thank everybody who is going to be a presenter. I want to thank everybody who has been voting, because it's going to be fun. And that's what it
Yep.
boils down to. No, we don't nominate Steve Burton per se. We nominate Jason Morgan because that's what it is. You're watching TV, so you know let's recognize the character work, which again, it all comes down to the writing anyways, but um let's recognize the character, let's recognize the stuff that's going on because it's for
Yeah.
wrestling and soap operas. um
Show our faves some love.
yes, exactly. So go to sudsandsquaredcircle.com/sudsy voting, and that will be a that cast your votes. Go vote. It's 2024. Go vote.
Yes.
um But anyways, with that said, so again, next Tuesday down to 8 p.m. Eastern. But that's about it for us. Kim, you have any closing thoughts?
No, just yep. Can't wait till I don't know till we get out of this crazy heat wave and we can get into talking about new episodes next week.
Yes, exactly. Well, all right. So for Kim, I'm Vinny. We'll see you next week.